Hey guys, Fragrant22 here, back yet again with another At the Movies segment, and it's currently 2:15 in the morning in Jersey, and I just got back from one of my most highly anticipated releases of 2010. I just got back from Christopher Nolan's masterpiece, Inception. Now, as I stated, this is actually one of the most highly anticipated releases of 2010, and it's really easy to see why. I mean, this film just recently debuted about a week ago, and it just boasts like an all-star A-list cast, and it's written and directed by Christopher Nolan, who has been one of my favorite directors ever since he came out onto the scene earlier in this decade with such modern masterpieces such as Memento, Insomnia, before 2005 where he landed the gig of jump-starting the Batman franchise with Batman Begins, and of course in 2006 with The Prestige, and then of course with the big 2008 blockbuster that was The Dark Knight. But here we are in 2010 where Christopher Nolan brings us back into his imagination to unveil his latest creation upon the world, that being Inception. Now, as I stated before, this film is headlined by an A-list cast which includes Leonardo DiCaprio, Academy Award winner Marion Cotillard, newcomers such as Ellen Page, Cillian Murphy, who you might remember from Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, where he played the Scarecrow, as well as appearances by Joseph Gordon-Levitt and some old-school actors such as Tom Berenger. And there's a great variety and a great diversity in the cast, which is really satisfying once you see, their acting talents put to the screen. But as I stated before, this is a completely unbelievable film from the imagination of Christopher Nolan, and it's one of those films where it's really it's an incredible film on so many different levels, but when people want your opinions about what it's about and why is it so good, it's not something that can be easily, stated where somebody might want to run out and see it. This truly is a film that needs to be witnessed to understand just, how amazing it truly is. But I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a nutshell version of what this film is about. So basically it takes place in a world where we're dominated by technology, and the invasion of dreams is actually possible. So a master thief, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, tries to tackle his, toughest job yet, where he can reclaim his part in society and be back together with his children. So that is really the bare bones summary of what this film is about. But like I said, this is just a film that needs to be witnessed to understand like all the amazing things going on in it. And it's really incredible because as we're coming upon the later half of 2010, I would absolutely go ahead and say that Inception is hands down one of the best films to come out of this decade. I understand that's a really bold statement for a new release, but it really is true. I mean, normally when you put down a comment like that, I mean, you should really take a lot of factors into consideration, such as the overall impact that a film like this has had. I mean, nowadays you're really seeing a lot of people coming out with what a lot of people believe is the most important films of the decade. And I mean, I've seen tons and tons of people trying to compile a list of what's been the most important, but Inception certainly deserves a spot on at least the top 15 of the best things to come out of this decade. And I will also, like to add that this is hands down one of the most ambitious films that I've ever seen. Now, with its complex plot line dealing with the complexities of the mind and dreams and whatnot, it really doesn't seem like your quintessential summer blockbuster. At first when people were were getting my opinions on what I thought Inception was going to bring to the table, it has, of course, the director of The Dark Knight, which by a lot of people's standards would be more than enough. And of course that he, garnered an incredible cast to join him on this amazing adventure of a film. But still, I was very skeptical going into the film and, seeing, how more or less the audience was going to perceive it, because I actually thought that a film of this stature was going to be too smart for your general audience. It didn't really seem like it fit incredibly in the summer blockbuster months. I just didn't really feel like that. It seemed like a film that would be more targeted around Oscar season or something. But it definitely surpassed anything that I could have ever imagined. I mean, I had every hope, especially after seeing the film, I have every hope that the film continues to, press on, gather as much success and money as it possibly can, and it certainly has, because it's already in its second week and it's still the #1 film in the country, and rightfully so. But at the time, prior to its release, I really didn't think that this film was going to capture, the audiences and masses at the box office. So it really is, surprising to see that people are going out and, dedicating what is about a 150-minute film, which is, certainly not an easy thing to sit through, but this is a film that you're absolutely absorbed in and caught in every single cut that's going on. I mean, there is not one moment where I was looking at my watch or, trying to figure out when the hell I could get out of here. I just didn't want this film to end. I mean, there's an incredible amount of things going on in it, and, it certainly is. I'm going back to the same two things, but, this film wouldn't have been anything special if it weren't for the directing and writing talents of Christopher Nolan, as well as the amazing cast that he got going in on this. I think that if you had the wrong person playing DiCaprio's role, I think that it really could have, it really could have just come undone in a lot of different parts. But DiCaprio's, powerful performance just really keeps a lot of this film together, and he's just, supported by an amazing, diverse cast of people, up-and-coming newcomers like Ellen Page, and then, of course, veteran actors like Tom Berenger in this. So that's really what makes this film something special. Now, I thought Christopher Nolan, he's certainly not a stranger or shy to working the camera on his own by any means, and you definitely get a vibe that his eye is definitely well seen in this film. I mean, the set pieces and the way he shoots so many scenes in so many different locations just makes this film and the cinematography really pop out and look really, really beautiful on the big screen. Furthermore, I mean, it's just one of those films where, like I said, you need to see it to really believe what's going on. I mean, I understand that there's going to be people for the next few weeks wondering if it's all just been hyped up or if it really is as amazing as it really is. And I can safely say that this is a film that needs to be seen in theaters. It is not something that's overhyped or overrated. It definitely meets all expectations that everybody is saying, and it definitely goes, based on what everybody is saying, it definitely just deserves every, wonderful thing and all the attention and buzz that it's getting, because it is hands down one of the best things that this decade has ever given. And I think that with this film alone, Christopher Nolan has reached a brand new peak of storytelling and directing, and I mean, there is just no telling where this guy is going to go from here, because, a lot of people probably thought with The Dark Knight, I mean, being such a huge moneymaker, making whatever it was, I think, well over $1 billion, that was probably the peak of his career. And then he comes out with a film that's not even Batman related. It's a completely new, diverse, complex story, and it continues to just capture and, just continues to just further, how amazing this guy truly is in the director's seat. So I can't wait to see more from him. I'm really, really excited to see what he's going to be able to do with the third installment of Batman, and I would just love to see him, continuing to give us original stories, because let's be honest, that's exactly what Hollywood needs. We don't need rehashings or remakes of films that are already perfect on their own. Christopher Nolan is certainly an originator and a true artist in everything that he does, and Inception is certainly no exception. So I would absolutely recommend that everybody see this film immediately, because your mind and your eyes will be blown as to what Inception has, been able to pull off. So all that said, go out there and see Inception. That's it. Well, I'd like to thank you guys once again for tuning in to my At the Movies segment, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Frightener22.